The career that I should have been born into is 1970s rock star. Hi, my name is Nick Mitchell. I'm the founder of Ultimate Performance.
Like the people who are actually doing it, right, actually get a piece of steak. I want to give you a return on your investment. Good morning, good afternoon, thank you.
No, welcome to the Mitchell house.
What do I eat for breakfast and why? So I tend to eat fat and protein. I'll eat fat and protein for breakfast because that really, for me, just gives me the most balanced blood sugar and the most even energy. Let's just call it the most even energy for the rest of the day. It means I can have a very busy day, forget to eat lunch. I usually don't eat lunch, and go right the way through till 4, 5, 6 or 7 o'clock without needing to eat food. My current go-to breakfast is 300 grams of venison mince, not 300 grams because it's a special number. It's arguably too much protein. I think it's 90 grams of protein, just because that's what comes in a packet. I tend to have 4 pieces of gluten-free brown bread with it. I'll have something green like cress, spinach. Again, just easy stuff to get in from the supermarket because I'm cooking for myself. And I will have probably some nuts. Tell me about fasted cardio for an ectomorph, please. An ectomorph is a skinny person, an actual skinny person. Yes or no difference? Thank you. If you're saying you're an ectomorph, you're probably skinny and you're probably aiming to put more muscle on, more muscular bulk on. On that basis, I would not do fasted cardio. First of all, there's nothing magical about fasted cardio anyway. Physiologically, you're not really going to burn more fat doing it fasted on an empty stomach than doing it with food in your stomach. If you're an ectomorph looking to put on size, you can still do a little bit of cardio, but specifically going out there to do cardio on an empty stomach, I think would be a negative. I think you want to get up when you wake up and you want to put some protein in your system as soon as possible, as soon as you wake up. 30 minutes, 40 minutes of fasted cardio, I think burns like something like a fraction of a percentage more calories than doing it non-fasted. So the difference is immaterial. There are a number of health benefits to 16-hour fasts. The longer you fast up till 24, 48 hours, the more the health benefits kick in. Again, you have to be careful. It's not linear. This is good and this is bad, because a 48-hour fast can be good for your health, but conversely, it can be stressful on the system. People with autoimmune issues should be very aware of it, and it can cause you to fixate on food and binge after that 48-hour period. But a short, little intermittent fasting break, time-restricted feeding, does have advantages for some people. It helps them control their calories without thinking about it so much. So there are some benefits just to the mindset that fasted cardio gets you in. I don't have an objection at all to people doing it. A lot of people feel good doing it. It's a good way to start their day. It's a good way to get a bit of movement in that they might not get in for the rest of the day because they're in the car, they're on the bus, they're on the tube, and then they're sat in an office. So I don't mind it, but it isn't magic. My best tips to tackle a hangover, and I used to be great at not getting a hangover because of these tips, but this is a long time ago now. Well, what I did when I got home was obviously I wanted some protein, so I put in 50 grams of whey protein. Again, whey is useful for supporting the immune system. So if you've been out drinking, your immune system is pushed down a bit. So 50 grams of whey protein. I would have quite a lot of glutamine, 20 grams. Again, not gonna do anything magic. It's good for things like gut health and things like that. It's also what's called a transaminator, which means glutamine will go and kind of be used as a different amino acid where needed. My secret was I would put in 2 sachets of Diarylite. Diarylite will have lots of different names, but essentially it is an electrolyte pack for people with diarrhea, 2 sachets. I'd take some water-soluble vitamins, B vitamins and C vitamins, and if I did that, I would wake up the next day tired, but I would have no hangover whatsoever. Top tips if you want to power through the day when you're low on sleep would be resist the urge to eat carbohydrates. If you eat carbohydrates, your blood sugar is going to go up, that's going to make you feel good, and then your blood sugar is going to come down and you're going to feel even worse. So resist the urge to overeat. You're going to have to use coffee to power through the day, probably. Don't overdo the coffee. Don't chase the coffee. Don't chase the coffee high. And in terms of supplements, would probably feel better with a high dose of vitamin C, 1, 2, 3 grams. You can be careful, start with 1 gram a day. You would probably feel better using adaptogenic herbs. You could do 1,500 milligrams of rhodiola roseo a couple of times a day to power through. That would give you a little bit of a kick. You can use certain herbal teas. You can use green tea. Green tea's got caffeine in it. That will also help you. And If you're having a struggle with the day, the best thing to do is to have some bright lights on you actually, because that's going to kind of force you to wake up. So again, going outside into the fresh air, preferably the sunlight, will also help. If I was to retire in the future, what would I do with my free time? I have been dying to write a novel for the last 30 years, and I keep starting it and I run out of time. So if I had the time and the opportunity, the first thing I would have to do is see, I'm not saying I could write a good novel, but I'd try to write a novel and see what happened. My last meal ever, well, my favourite food is, because I am a Yorkshire peasant at heart, my favourite food is baked beans on toast with 6 poached eggs on top. That's my favourite, that would be my favourite meal. There are people, for the benefit of the camera, there are females looking horrified at the peasantry on display today. How important is the university degree compared to experience? The question would be important for what? How important is it to have a university degree to get a job as a lawyer versus experience? You've got to get a university degree. How important is it as a personal trainer? Completely meaningless as a personal trainer. The vast majority of people I've seen, the person who, in UP who's worked for me since he was a junior for over 10 years, has a master's and an undergrad degree in sports science and biomechanics and all that stuff, and he would willingly say it didn't teach him anything, that he needed to really understand and know about personal training. So my views on degrees as a general point have changed over the years. I am from the generation where, my parents expected me to, my parents didn't go to university, and my parents had an expectation that both me and my brother would go to university no matter what. It was never an option. It was always just a thing, because it's the best start in life. I no longer think it is necessarily the best start in life. University degrees have been devalued amazingly. I think in my day, in fact, I think even 20 years ago, the UK was giving out first-class honours degrees, I want to say 2 or 3 or 4%, and I think it's over 20% now. That devalues it. There's too many courses. It's too easy to get into university. It's become a business. If you walk out of university 40, 50, 100,000 pounds in debt. In America, some people will come out of university $250,000 in debt. That university degree had better be something that's really going to help you make more money later down the line. How safe is it for a pregnant woman to weight train? It's theoretically very safe, but you have to exercise caution. At the end of the day, things can go wrong, and things can go wrong when you're carrying a bag of shopping, you're walking up the stairs. It can happen. There are exercises not to do within certain trimesters. I would always exercise caution, no pun intended, when exercising when pregnant, but I also will tell you, it's much, much better for you to exercise while pregnant than not exercise. You're healthier, you're going to recover from the pregnancy so much better. You're going to have a better, more active pregnancy, and you're probably going to eat better, more blood flow is going to also be better. Both of those things are going to be better for the baby. If your hormones are better because you're exercising and feeling good about it, I don't see how that can't help the baby versus you're lying at home unable to move because you're petrified of exercise. So there is a balance, but there is a risk-reward ratio to it. If I had to eat plain, like bodybuilding type food, or I could eat delicious food, which I love delicious food, and I mitigate my stress with food, so I'm definitely not some Spartan in terms of his diet, I would pick bland, boring, sawdust food and training. I would. And over no training and good food, any day of the week, yeah. What's the profession and different life I would like to take on? So, I trained as a barrister. I was with my friend the other day. She's a QC here in Manchester and Liverpool, and what an unbelievably amazing job. It's a difficult job, but what an unbelievably amazing job. You are using your brain, and then you are being flexible. Creative is maybe the wrong word, a little bit creative, a little bit flexible in how you interpret the facts, to construct an argument in favour of your client and to construct a favourable outcome for your client. I think, you're thinking on your feet. So I still think being a barrister is a great job, not just because of Top Gun. I'm reminded because of Top Gun when I was a kid, I always wanted to fly a plane, and I still, after watching Top Gun, I still think, being a jet fighter pilot would be a lot of fun, but I never considered that because my eyesight's not good enough. The career that I should have been born into is 1970s rock star. There can be no bigger buzz, no greater buzz. For me, not scoring a goal at Wembley to win the World Cup final, for me there could be no greater buzz than playing a guitar or belting out a tune at Wembley to 100,000 people, and it's the right sort of music, for me that would be, you'd just be flying for the rest of your life, right? Okay, what do I think about cryotherapy? So there's a certain amount of evidence on cryotherapy that it works, but it's not magic. I don't think it does all the things that people say it does. Oh, it's going to burn fat and all this sort of stuff. I think you'll get a temporary metabolic elevation because you're freezing, right? I think you go in for 3 minutes, that's the normal standard practice, and you come out and you're going to feel alive because your body has had a massive stress response to the freezing cold. Massive stress responses in short, acute doses, not chronic doses, can be very, very good and powerful for your immune system. Basically, you're exercising your immune system. Just having a cold shower, I don't do it. I should do it. Having a really cold shower every morning gives significant immune system boosts. But I don't think cryotherapy is the magic that they sell it to be. I think if you've got one close to you and you enjoy doing it, absolutely knock yourself out while doing it. Don't do it right next to training because you want to separate out the stress responses. So you don't want to, for instance, go in a sauna and then go in a cryotherapy unit. You might want to do a sauna in the morning and cryo at night, or vice versa, that kind of thing. Is there such a thing as anti-aging superfood? Well, there are foods that are better for you than others, so you could call them super, but not superfoods, they're just superfoods. And I'm not aware of anything in terms of a food that is anti-aging. I was going to say anti-aging, I'm not even in America yet, meaning you reverse the clock. But obviously there are some foods that are better for you than others. It is better for you, it is better for your aging to eat a piece of grass-fed steak and some broccoli than it is to eat a Domino's pizza. So there are anti-aging superfoods in that respect, but there is no magic food that you can eat that will turn the clock back. Thank you for watching. I'm always very grateful for any comments you might leave below. If you would like to leave some likes, please do. Any feedback at all.